She smirked. Seriously? You're upset I forgot your birthday? That's so immature. I told her, don't worry. You forgot. But I remember everything. Later that night, she opened the door to find a surprise party for her best friend, whose hand I was holding. I'm the kind of person who remembers things. Not in a trivia night, encyclopedic way. I remember the small stuff. I remember the name of the dog you had when you were 7. I remember the song that was playing on the radio the first time we kissed. I remember the specific shade of green your eyes turn when you're genuinely happy. I've always believed these small details are the building blocks of a relationship. They're the proof that you're paying attention, that the other person matters. My girlfriend of 2 years, Olivia, was a different kind of person. She lived in a permanent, brightly lit present, and her memories of the past were often blurry and self-serving. For a long time, I thought our differences were a strength. I was the steady, quiet one who remembered the details, and she was the vibrant, spontaneous one who made new memories. We lived in my apartment, a place I had worked hard to afford, and I was happy to provide a stable foundation for her whirlwind life. I thought we were balancing each other out. I see now that I wasn't her balance. I was just her safety net, and the only details she cared about were the ones that served her own story. The rot started to show in her treatment of her best friend, a woman named Sophie. They had been friends since college, and for most of the time I knew them, they were inseparable. But lately, Olivia had started treating Sophie less like a friend and more like a competitor. She would subtly steal Sophie's ideas in group conversations, passing them off as her own. She would make little digs about Sophie's career or her dating life, always disguised as a joke. I saw it all, and it bothered me. Sophie was a genuinely kind, thoughtful person who deserved better. The final, undeniable proof of Olivia's self-absorption came on a Tuesday, my birthday. I'm not a huge birthday guy. I don't need a big party or expensive gifts. My ideal celebration is a good meal, a bottle of wine, and quiet time with the person I love. I had mentioned it a few times in the weeks leading up to it, just casual reminders. The day came, and it was met with absolute silence. Olivia woke up, talked about a sale at her favorite store, and rushed off to work without a word. No happy birthday, no card on the counter, nothing. I told myself she was just busy, that she was planning a surprise for the evening. But as the day wore on, a cold knot of certainty formed in my stomach. She had forgotten. Completely. She came home that evening, arms full of shopping bags, buzzing about the amazing deals she had found. She didn't notice the nice bottle of wine I had set out. She didn't notice that I had cleaned the entire apartment. She just talked about herself. I waited until she was done with her monologue. Then, I asked quietly, "Did you forget something today, Liv?" She looked at me, confused. "What? Like to pick up milk?" "No," I said, my voice flat. "It was my birthday today." Her face went through a flicker of panic. The "oh no, I messed up" look. But it didn't last. It was immediately replaced by a defensive glare. She put her hands on her hips. "Oh my God," she said, letting out an exasperated sigh. "That was today? I've been so swamped. Are you actually mad about that?" "I'm not mad," I said, though the disappointment was a heavy weight in my chest. "I'm just hurt that you didn't remember." And then she laughed. It was a sharp, condescending sound that echoed in the quiet apartment. "You're mad because I forgot your birthday? That's so childish, Adam. It's just a day. We can celebrate this weekend." Childish. The word hit me harder than any forgotten birthday ever could. It wasn't just that she had forgotten. It was that she felt my hurt was an illegitimate, immature reaction. My feelings were an inconvenience to her. In her story, she hadn't made a mistake. I was just being difficult. In that moment, the last thread of my affection for her snapped. The quiet guy who remembered everything had just been given a memory he would never forget. The sound of his partner laughing at his pain. I looked at her, my face becoming a perfect, calm mask. The hurt was gone, replaced by a cold, clear purpose. "You're right," I said, my voice suddenly light. "It's fine. You forgot, but I remember everything." She smiled, relieved. She thought she had won. She thought I had accepted her narrative and that everything would go back to normal. "See," she said, "it's not a big deal." "No," I agreed, a slow smile spreading across my own face. "It's not." She had no idea what I was truly remembering. I was remembering that my birthday, April 23rd, was the exact same day as her best friend Sophie's birthday. And I knew with absolute certainty that Olivia had forgotten that one too. She had given me the perfect weapon. She thought she was dismissing my feelings. She was actually giving me a detailed battle plan. Update 1. The day after my forgotten birthday was a masterclass in covert operations. Olivia woke up cheerful and relieved, believing the childish drama was behind us. She went off to work, completely oblivious to the fact that I had already begun to dismantle the life she took for granted. My first call was to Sophie. I wished her a happy belated birthday. There was a sad, weary tone in her voice when she thanked me. Let me guess, I said. You didn't hear from Olivia yesterday, did you? Sophie sighed. No, she admitted. Not a word. She's been distant lately. It hurts, you know. Forgetting my birthday is one thing, but it feels like she's forgotten our entire friendship. This was the confirmation I needed. I know exactly how you feel, I said. She forgot mine too. We have the same birthday, Sophie, and when I brought it up, she called me childish for being hurt. There was a moment of stunned silence on the other end of the line. She said that to you? She did, I confirmed. And that's why I'm calling. I've decided that this pattern of disrespect needs to be addressed. And I think you and I deserve to celebrate our birthdays properly. So I have a proposal for you, but it's a little unconventional. I laid out my plan. It was audacious. It was theatrical. It was exactly the kind of public lesson that a person like Olivia would understand. I told Sophie I was going to throw a huge belated birthday party for me at our apartment that night. I would tell Olivia it was my way of making up for being childish and that she should invite all of our friends. But the party wouldn't be for me. It would be a surprise party for Sophie. Sophie was hesitant at first. She was, by nature, a non-confrontational person. I don't know, Adam, she said. That seems mean. Is it meaner than your best friend of 10 years completely forgetting your existence? I asked gently. Is it meaner than her stealing your ideas and talking about you behind your back? This isn't about being mean, Sophie. This is about taking back your power. This is about showing her and everyone else that you deserve to be celebrated, not ignored. Let me do this for you. Let me give you the birthday party you deserve. I could hear her thinking. The accumulated hurt and frustration of the past few months were warring with her natural kindness. Finally, she let out a long breath. Okay, she said, a new strength in her voice. Okay, Adam, let's do it. The rest of the day was a blur of logistics. I went into overdrive. I created a private group chat with a few key, trustworthy friends, explained the real plan, and enlisted their help. They were thrilled. Everyone had seen Olivia's behavior, and they were eager to be part of the course correction. I called a bakery and ordered a large, beautiful cake with happy birthday, Sophie written in elegant script. I went to a party store and bought balloons and decorations in her favorite colors. I created a playlist entirely of her favorite bands. I even went out and bought her a thoughtful birthday present, a first edition copy of her favorite book, something I had remembered her mentioning months ago. When Olivia got home from work, I put on the performance of a lifetime. I apologized for being moody the night before. I told her she was right, that I had overreacted, and that I wanted to make it up to her by having everyone over for a last-minute party. Her eyes lit up. A party. A party where she could be the gracious, forgiving girlfriend who had patiently dealt with her childish partner. A party where she could be the center of attention. That's a great idea, she said, beaming. I'll text everyone right now. She spent the next hour on her phone, enthusiastically inviting their entire social circle to Adam's makeup party. She was so caught up in her own narrative that she didn't notice that all the decorations were blue and silver, not my favorite colors. She didn't ask what kind of cake I had ordered. She was completely oblivious, blinded by her own ego. Meanwhile, I was coordinating with Sophie. I told her to arrive an hour after the party was supposed to start. I wanted the apartment to be full. I wanted the stage to be perfectly set for her grand entrance. The trap was laid. The actors were all invited, and the star of the show had no idea she was about to be written out of the script. The party started at 8 p.m. By 8:30, my apartment was packed. It was a strange electric atmosphere. About half the guests were in on the secret, and they were buzzing with a kind of conspiratorial excitement. The other half were Olivia's friends, who just thought they were there for a regular party. Olivia was in her element. She was wearing a new dress, holding court in the middle of the living room, telling some dramatic story and laughing loudly. She was the queen of the castle, completely unaware that a coup was underway. I played my part, acting as the dutiful host, refilling drinks and making small talk. Every time she looked at me, I gave her a small, apologetic smile. She would give me a smug, forgiving look in return. It was nauseating. At 9 p.m. sharp, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Sophie. "I'm here. Showtime." I went to the front door and let her in quietly. She looked nervous but determined. She was beautiful, dressed in a simple, elegant dress, and her eyes were shining with a mixture of fear and excitement. I took her hand. "You ready?" I whispered. She squeezed my hand and nodded. I led her quietly through the kitchen and into the spare bedroom, where my co-conspirator friends were waiting. We gave her a quick pep talk. Then, I walked back out into the living room. I went over to the sound system and cut the music. The room fell silent. Everyone turned to look at me. Olivia, who was in the middle of a sentence, looked annoyed by the interruption. "Hey everyone," I said, my voice projecting through the room. "Thanks so much for coming. I know this was last minute. I just have a quick announcement to make." Olivia smiled, thinking this was going to be a public apology to her. She even took a small step forward, ready to graciously accept. "As many of you know," I continued, "yesterday was my birthday. And what some of you might not know is that it was also the birthday of another very special person. A person who is one of the kindest, most loyal, and most deserving people I have ever met. A person who has been a truly great friend to me and who deserves to be celebrated." I paused, letting the suspense build. I looked around the room, making eye contact with Olivia. Her smile was starting to look a little strained. "So this party isn't for me," I announced. "Everyone, could you please help me give a huge surprise happy birthday to Sophie?" On cue, my friends in the spare room opened the door and escorted a beaming Sophie into the middle of the living room. The friends who were in on the plan erupted into a massive cheer. They started singing "Happy Birthday." One of them unfurled a banner that said, "We love you, Sophie." The rest of the guests, catching on quickly, joined in. The room was filled with the sound of celebration, all of it directed at a shocked and tearfully happy Sophie. And Olivia? She stood frozen, her face a grotesque collage of confusion, fury, and utter humiliation. She looked from my face to Sophie's, then back again. She saw me walk over to Sophie, give her a hug, and then take her hand. She saw the genuine affection between us. This wasn't her party. This wasn't her moment. She had been completely and totally upstaged. The spotlight she craved was now shining brightly on the very person she had been casting in shadow for months. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. The laughter she had used to dismiss my feelings the night before was gone. She wasn't laughing now. Final update. The moments after the big reveal were pure, unadulterated chaos. And it was beautiful. Olivia, after her initial shock, tried to seize control. She stormed over to me, her face contorted with rage. "What is the meaning of this, Adam?" she shrieked, trying to be heard over the renewed party music. "Sophie's playlist, of course." I just smiled at her. A calm, beatific smile. "It's a birthday party, Olivia," I said cheerfully. "For Sophie. You know, your best friend? The one whose birthday you also forgot." Sophie, who was standing next to me, looked at Olivia with a cool, level gaze. The nervousness was gone, replaced by a newfound strength. "He remembered Olivia," she said simply. "You didn't. That was it. That was the kill shot. The simple, undeniable truth." Olivia then turned her fury on Sophie. You went behind my back. With my boyfriend?" "He's not your boyfriend anymore," Sophie replied calmly. "And I didn't go behind your back. I stood up for myself, for once. And for him. Something a real friend would do." The public nature of it all was too much for Olivia. She was surrounded by dozens of people who were now staring at her, their expressions ranging from pity to disgust. She let out a frustrated scream, called us both a few choice names, and then stormed out of the apartment, shoving her way through her own friends. The door slammed shut behind her, and a spontaneous cheer went up in the room. The party continued for another 2 hours, and it was the best party I had ever hosted. It was a genuine celebration of a genuinely good person. Sophie was radiant. She was surrounded by people who were showing her the love and appreciation her best friend never did. The next day, I packed all of Olivia's belongings. I was methodical and neat. I texted her from a new number, having blocked her on my main one, and told her that her things would be on the curb outside my apartment building at a specific time, and that if she didn't pick them up, they would be donated. She sent her father to do it. I watched from my window as he loaded her life into the back of his truck. The social fallout for her was absolute. The story of the party, of the double-forgotten birthday, and of her public meltdown spread like wildfire. She was exposed as a selfish, narcissistic user. She lost her best friend and the respect of her entire social circle in a single night. As for Sophie and me, the party was the start of something new. In the weeks that followed, we spent a lot of time together, initially just supporting each other through the messy breakup of our respective relationships with Olivia. But the more time we spent together, the more I realized that the connection I felt with her was real. She was everything Olivia wasn't: thoughtful, kind, empathetic, and honest. She remembered the small details because she genuinely cared. We started dating about a month ago. It's slow, it's easy, and it's the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. My revenge was not just about getting back at Olivia for forgetting my birthday. It was about holding her accountable for her character. She dismissed my feelings as childish, so I orchestrated a scenario where her own childish, selfish behavior was put on display for everyone to see. She took her best friend for granted, so I celebrated that friend in a way she never would have. I didn't just dump her. I replaced her. I upgraded. I took the foundation of the life she had taken for granted, and I built something better on it, with a better partner. She didn't just lose a boyfriend. She lost her best friend, her social standing, and her comfortable life, all because she couldn't be bothered to remember a single important day. I told her I remembered everything. And I did. I remembered she was a bad girlfriend, a bad friend, and I remembered that Sophie deserved better. And now we both have it.